"You're not my father anymore." Those were the exact words my daughter Jennifer spoke to me. Not over the phone, not in a heated argument, but standing in the parking lot of the luxury apartment building where she lived with her investment banker husband. I was wearing my navy blue custodian uniform, holding a mop bucket. She'd just walked out with two of her friends from her yoga class, and there I was, her dirty little secret, standing in broad daylight. The look on her face wasn't anger. It was pure shame, like I was something rotten that needed to be thrown away. "Jennifer, I don't." She held up her hand, her diamond engagement ring catching the sunlight, a ring I'd never seen before, because I wasn't invited to the engagement party. Wasn't told about the wedding planning. Hadn't met this husband of hers. "Don't say my name. Don't talk to me. Just clean your toilets and stay out of my life." Her friends laughed. One of them, a blonde woman in expensive athleisure wear, whispered something, and they all giggled. Jennifer didn't even look back as they walked away, their designer handbags swinging. That was 3 years ago. I was 62 then. I'm 65 now. And yesterday, Jennifer finally called me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where this really started. Not 3 years ago in that parking lot, but 22 years ago, when Jennifer was 14 and her mother died. Cancer. Lymphoma. It took Margaret in 8 brutal months. We went from "there's a lump" to "get your affairs in order" faster than I could process. Jennifer watched her mother waste away in that hospital bed. And when it was over, it was just the two of us in our small house in Queens. I was working as a custodian at a Manhattan office building, night shift mostly, cleaning bathrooms, emptying trash bins, mopping floors, scrubbing elevators. I'd come home around 6 in the morning, sleep until 2, then be up to make sure Jennifer got home from school safely. The pay wasn't great, but it kept the lights on and food on the table. Jennifer started changing in high school. At first, I thought it was grief. She stopped talking much, spent more time in her room. But then I noticed something else. When her friends came over, she'd rush them upstairs. She never mentioned what I did for work. And one day, I overheard her on the phone. "Yeah, my dad's in. Facility management," she said, laughing nervously. "He basically manages a building in Manhattan. Pretty boring stuff. Facility management, that's what she called it." I didn't say anything. Kids are embarrassed by their parents sometimes. It's normal, right? She'd grow out of it. She didn't. College came. NYU. She got in on a partial scholarship, and I covered the rest. Worked double shifts, picked up weekend work. My back started hurting more. My knees ached on the stairs. But every time I deposited money into her account, every time I sent her a little extra for books or food, I felt like I was doing right by Margaret. Taking care of our daughter, Jennifer barely came home during college. Maybe Thanksgiving. Never Christmas. Always had some excuse. Studying for exams. Working on a project. Eventually, she stopped making excuses at all. After graduation, she got a job at a marketing firm. Started dating someone named Bradley. I learned this from her Facebook page, which she didn't know I could see. She never told me directly. Never called to share the news. Never brought him home to meet me. Then came the engagement. I found out the same way everyone else did. A Facebook post. She said yes, with a picture of her hand sporting that massive diamond ring. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments. I wasn't tagged, wasn't mentioned. I left a comment congratulating her. She deleted it. The wedding happened 8 months later. I wasn't invited. I drove past the venue that day anyway. Watched from across the street as she walked in wearing a white dress that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. The father-daughter dance happened with Bradley's father instead. Some man I'd never met walked my daughter down the aisle. I went home and cried for the first time since Margaret died. After that parking lot incident 3 years ago, I decided something. If Jennifer wanted to pretend I didn't exist, fine. I'd give her what she wanted. I blocked her on social media, changed my phone number, moved to a different apartment in Brooklyn. If she ever wanted to find me, she'd have to actually try. She never did. I kept working, kept showing up to my night shifts, kept mopping those floors and scrubbing those toilets. Because here's the thing nobody knew about me, not even Jennifer. I wasn't just a custodian. I was the owner of Apex Facility Services. Yeah, the custodian owned the company. Let me explain. 30 years ago, I started cleaning offices with a bucket, some rags, and a dream. Margaret believed in me when no one else did. We built that business together, one contract at a time. By the time Jennifer was born, we had 12 employees. By the time she was 10, we had 200. When Margaret died, we had over 800 employees servicing 70 buildings across New York City. But here's what I never told Jennifer. I kept working as a custodian, not because I had to, because I wanted to. I wanted to stay connected to where I came from. I wanted to understand my employees' struggles. So 3 nights a week, I'd put on that uniform and clean alongside them. The other nights, I was in my office, running the business. I kept it secret from Jennifer for a reason. After Margaret died, I saw how she started valuing things. Designer clothes, expensive phones. She started comparing herself to her wealthier classmates. I wanted her to learn that work has dignity, that there's honor in any honest job. I thought if she believed I was just a janitor, she'd learn humility, that she'd understand money isn't everything. I was wrong. She learned the opposite lesson. She learned to be ashamed. By the time I realized my mistake, it was too late. She'd already built her entire identity around being better than me, around escaping the poverty she thought we were in, the partial scholarship. I could have paid her full tuition 10 times over, the tight budget I kept her on. I had $17 million in various accounts. I let her believe we were struggling because I wanted her to appreciate what she had. Instead, I taught her to resent me for not having more. So after that parking lot incident, after she disowned me, I made a decision. I sold my stake in Apex to my business partner for $42 million. Kept enough to live comfortably and set the rest aside. If Jennifer ever came back into my life, I'd teach her the lesson I should have taught her years ago. Not by telling her, by showing her. 3 years went by. I didn't think about her every day, but I thought about her most days. Wondered if she was happy, if Bradley treated her well, if she ever thought about me, even for a moment. Then yesterday, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello, Dad? I froze. Her voice. After 3 years of silence, there was her voice. Jennifer? Dad, I need your help. She was crying. Actually crying. Can we meet, please? It's important. Every instinct told me to hang up, to protect myself from whatever this was. But she was my daughter, Margaret's daughter. Where? I asked. There's a coffee shop in Brooklyn, 9th Street. Can you be there in an hour? I got there early, ordered a black coffee and sat by the window. My heart was pounding like I was about to rob a bank, not meet my own child. She walked in 20 minutes later, and I barely recognized her. The put-together, polished woman from 3 years ago was gone. Her hair was messier. She'd lost weight. Her clothes were nice, but not the luxury brands she used to wear. And her eyes, they were hollow. She sat down across from me without ordering anything. Thanks for coming, she said quietly. I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak yet. I know I have no right to ask you for anything, she continued, her voice shaking. I know what I said to you. I know I cut you out of my life. I know I was. I was horrible. Why now? I asked. Why, after 3 years? She looked down at her hands. No more diamond ring. Bradley left me. 6 months ago. Turns out he'd been having an affair with someone from his office for over a year. The divorce got finalized last month. I felt a flash of anger toward this Bradley, whoever he was. I'm sorry. That's not why I called. She took a shaky breath. When we got divorced, we had to split everything. The apartment was in his name, so I had to move out. I'm staying with a friend right now, and I started my own marketing business 2 years ago. It was doing well, until Bradley's lawyer came after it in the divorce. Said he'd helped fund it, which was true. He claimed half the business value. I had to buy him out. How much? $250,000. I had some savings, took out a loan. I've been managing. But then last month, my biggest client dropped me. They went with a bigger firm, and now I can't make my loan payments. The bank is threatening to come after my business assets. I'm going to lose everything I built. She finally looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. I know I don't deserve your help. I know I treated you like garbage, but you're the only family I have left. I need $50,000 just to keep the business afloat until I can land a new client. I'll pay you back. I promise. How did you find me? I interrupted. She wiped her eyes. It took me 2 months. I went to your old apartment. The landlord said you moved. I tried your old number, but it was disconnected. I finally tracked down someone you used to work with. He gave me your new number. 2 months. She spent 2 months looking for me. That meant something. Not much, but something. You want $50,000, I said slowly. I know it's a lot. I know I have no right to ask. But I'm desperate, Dad. If I lose this business, I lose everything. It's all I have. I sipped my coffee, thought about Margaret, thought about that 14-year-old girl who lost her mother, thought about the woman sitting across from me who'd spent 22 years learning all the wrong lessons. I'll give you the money, I said. Her eyes went wide. Really? Under one condition. She nodded eagerly. Anything. I'll do anything. You come work for me. Not in your marketing business. For me, doing what I do. For 1 year. Minimum wage. You live in a studio apartment that I'll provide. You eat what you can afford on that wage. You use public transportation. You live exactly like I lived when I was raising you. The color drained from her face. What? You think I'm a janitor, right? That's what you told your friends. That's why you were ashamed of me. So come work as a janitor. For 1 year. If you can do it, if you can make it through 12 months, I'll give you the $50,000. No strings attached. Dad, I can't. I have my business to run. Your business is about to be taken by the bank, I said flatly. You said so yourself. And I'm guessing you don't have any active clients right now, or you wouldn't need the money so desperately. So what exactly do you have to lose? She stared at me. You're serious? Completely. I don't understand. Why would you want me to? Because you need to learn something you should have learned a long time ago, I said, standing up. You need to learn what it means to work with your hands, to be exhausted at the end of the day, to budget every single dollar, to be invisible to people who think they're better than you. Maybe then you'll understand why what you said to me in that parking lot hurt so badly. I put $20 on the table for the coffee I'd had. Think about it. You've got my number now. Call me when you decide. I walked out. She called me that night. Okay, she said, her voice barely a whisper. Okay, I'll do it. Be at this address tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I gave her the location of one of the office buildings I used to clean. Still had connections with the management company. Don't be late. And Jennifer? Yeah? Wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty. The next morning, I watched her get off the subway at 4:55 a.m. She was wearing old jeans and a stained NYU sweatshirt. Her hair was in a ponytail. No makeup. She looked terrified. I introduced her to Marcus, the night shift supervisor. He was one of my best employees from back when I ran Apex. He knew the whole story, knew what I was trying to do. This is Jennifer, I told him. She's new. Show her everything. Marcus nodded. You ever cleaned a bathroom before? Jennifer shook her head. You're about to learn. I left them and went to start my own work, but I kept an eye on her throughout that first night. Watched her scrub toilets with shaking hands. Saw her gag when she had to empty a particularly disgusting trash can. Noticed how she flinched every time someone walked past her, like she wasn't there. At the end of the shift, around 1 p.m., she sat down on the floor of the supply closet and cried. I didn't go to her. This was part of the lesson. Week 1 was brutal for her. Her hands developed blisters from the chemicals and scrubbing. Her back ached. She fell asleep on the subway and missed her stop twice. The studio apartment I'd arranged for her was in a building with thin walls and noisy neighbors. She couldn't afford the food she was used to. Had to learn to cook cheap meals, rice and beans, pasta, ramen. But she showed up every day. Week 2, I noticed her talking to some of the other custodians, learning their names, hearing their stories. There was Rosa, who sent money back to her family in Honduras. David, who was working 3 jobs to pay for his daughter's college. Marie, who was 68 and couldn't retire because she didn't have enough saved. Week 3, Jennifer stopped complaining, stopped crying. She just worked. One night in week 4, I was cleaning a hallway when I heard voices. I stopped and listened. "You're getting faster," Marcus was saying. "That bathroom used to take you 40 minutes. Now you're down to 25. "Thanks," Jennifer replied. "Rosa showed me a technique for the mirrors. Makes a big difference." "You're doing good, kid. Real good. Not many people your age would stick with this." "I don't really have a choice." "There's always a choice. You chose to be here. That matters." I kept listening. "Can I ask you something?" Jennifer said. "Sure." "How long have you been doing this?" 16 years. Do you ever feel invisible? Like people walk right past you and don't even see you?" Marcus laughed. "Every single day. That's the job. We're the people who keep the world clean, and the world doesn't want to think about us. That must be hard." "It is. But you know what? I take pride in it anyway. I do my job well. I show up. I take care of my family. That's what matters. Not whether some guy in a suit notices me in the hallway." There was silence for a moment. "My father did this for 22 years, Jennifer said quietly. "I never understood. I thought he was just... I don't know. I thought he could have done more. Been more." "Your father sounds like a good man." "He is. I just didn't see it." I walked away before they could hear me. My eyes were burning. Month 2. Jennifer's hands stopped blistering. She got into a rhythm, started budgeting better. I saw her at a thrift store once, buying clothes. She didn't see me, but I watched her carefully examine price tags, putting things back that were too expensive. Month 3. Something shifted. She started smiling at work, joking with the other custodians. When a new person started, she showed them the ropes the way Rosa and Marcus had shown her. I watched her become part of the invisible workforce, and something strange happened. She became happier. Not the fake, Instagram perfect happiness from before. Real happiness. The kind that comes from honest work and genuine connection. Month 5. I was in my office one day when Marcus called me. "You need to come see this." I went to the building where Jennifer was working. Found her in the lobby, talking to a woman in an expensive business suit. The woman looked annoyed. "I'm telling you, I need someone to clean up this mess right now," the woman was saying. "We have clients coming in 20 minutes. Someone had spilled coffee all over the marble floor. It was everywhere. A huge mess." "I understand," Jennifer said calmly. "I'll take care of it right away." "Well, hurry up." "God, how hard is your job anyway? You just push a mop around." I tensed, waiting for Jennifer to react, waiting for her to snap, to tell this woman off. Instead, Jennifer smiled. "You're right. It's not complicated. That's what makes it important. Anyone can mess something up. It takes skill to clean it up properly." The woman looked confused, like she didn't know how to respond to that. She walked away. Jennifer got her supplies and cleaned the spill. When she was done, I approached her. "I heard that," I said. She looked up, surprised to see me. We'd barely spoken outside of work in 5 months. "Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. How do you handle it?" She shrugged. "I remember what Marcus said. We keep the world clean. That matters, whether people notice or not." I nodded. "Your mother would be proud of you." Her eyes filled with tears. "You think so?" "I know so." Month 8, Jennifer got a letter from the bank. Her business assets had been liquidated. Her loan was paid off from the sale. She had nothing left of the marketing company she'd built. She came to my apartment that night. I'd given her my address months ago, but she'd never visited. "It's gone," she said, standing in my doorway. "Everything I worked for, just gone." I let her in, made her tea, let her cry. "I thought that business was who I was," she said. "I thought if I lost it, I'd lose myself. And now? Now, I don't know who I am. But I think maybe I'm okay with that. Maybe I needed to lose everything to figure out what actually matters." "What matters, Jennifer?" She looked at me. "People, connection, showing up, doing your best even when no one's watching. That stuff matters more than clients or money or status." I squeezed her hand. "You're learning." Month 12 came faster than I expected. Jennifer's last day as a custodian. Marcus threw her a small party during break. Cake from the grocery store. Everyone signed a card. "You made it," Rosa said, hugging her. "A whole year. I couldn't have done it without you guys," Jennifer said, and I could see she meant it. After her shift, I asked her to come to my apartment. She showed up, still in her uniform, smelling like cleaning chemicals. "You kept your end of the bargain," I said. "A full year. So here." I handed her a check for $50,000. She stared at it, then at me, then back at the check. "Dad, I can't take this. We had a deal." "I know, but I don't need it anymore. I mean, I do need money. I'm broke, but I don't need it for the marketing business. That's gone. And honestly, I don't want to go back to that life. I don't want to spend every day stressed about clients and money and keeping up appearances. What do you want?" She sat down. "I want to keep working. Maybe not as a custodian forever, but I want to do something real, something that matters. I've been thinking about going back to school, social work, maybe, or teaching. Something where I can help people." I pulled out another envelope. "Then you might want this instead." She opened it. It was a letter from NYU's School of Social Work, an acceptance letter, and a full scholarship funded by an anonymous donor. She looked at me. "You did this?" "I made some calls. They were happy to consider your application, especially after I explained your journey. The scholarship is real. You earned it. But how can you afford this? You're a—" She stopped. Her eyes widened. "Oh my God. I was going to tell you eventually. You're not just a janitor, are you?" I was a janitor. A real one. But I was also the owner of Apex Facility Services. I sold my stake 3 years ago for $42 million. She stood up, pacing. 42. "Dad, you were rich this whole time?" "Yes. When I was in college, scraping by." "You were a millionaire?" "Yes." "Why? Why would you let me struggle? Why would you pretend?" I took a breath. "Because I made a mistake when you were young. After your mother died, I saw you starting to value the wrong things. I thought if I kept us on a tight budget, if you believed we were struggling, you'd learn to appreciate hard work, learn that money isn't everything. But I did it wrong. I let you believe I was a failure. I let you be ashamed of me. And by the time I realized what I'd done, you'd already cut me out of your life. So this whole year, it was to teach me a lesson. It was to show you what I should have shown you years ago. That there's dignity in any honest work. That the people who clean your office and serve your food and drive your taxi are human beings with value. That money doesn't make someone worthy of respect." She sat back down. "I was so awful to you. You were young. You learned what society taught you. That people are worth what they earn. I told you that you weren't my father anymore. I know. How can you even stand to look at me?" I moved to sit next to her. "Jennifer, you're my daughter. You're Margaret's daughter. Do you know what she would say if she were here?" She shook her head, tears flowing. "She'd say that everyone deserves grace. Everyone deserves a chance to grow. You spent this year learning and changing. You became the person we always hoped you'd be. The person who sees value in everyone. Who works hard not for status, but because it's right. Who treats people with kindness even when they're rude to you. That's who your mother raised you to be. I miss her so much." "I do too." We sat there together, my daughter and me. After 3 years of silence and 22 years of distance, we finally sat together without anything between us. "Can I ask you something?" she said after a while. "Anything. Will you help me move into student housing when school starts?" I smiled. "I'd be honored." "And Dad?" "Yeah, I'm sorry. For everything. For being ashamed of you. For cutting you out. For only coming back when I needed money. I'm so sorry. I forgive you. I forgave you a long time ago." She hugged me then. Really hugged me. The kind of hug we hadn't shared since before Margaret died. And I held my daughter and thought about how sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what really matters. Jennifer started her social work program that fall. She kept in touch with Rosa and Marcus and David and Marie. Sometimes she'd still go back and help with cleaning shifts when they were short-staffed. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Last month, she graduated with her master's degree. She's working at a non-profit now, helping low-income families navigate city services. She lives in a modest apartment, takes the subway to work, and seems genuinely happy in a way I never saw during her marketing days. And last week, she called me to say she's getting married. Not to some rich banker, but to a teacher she met in grad school. Someone who makes lesson plans at night and coaches basketball on weekends and makes her laugh until she cries. "Will you walk me down the aisle, Dad?" she asked. I said yes. Obviously, I said yes. Because here's what I learned through all of this. Money can't buy respect. Status can't buy dignity. And success isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in character. In how you treat people when they can't do anything for you. In whether you show up day after day and do your best even when no one's watching. I spent 22 years trying to teach my daughter that lesson. And I did it all wrong. I kept secrets and created distance when I should have shown her through my actions instead of hiding them. But in the end, she learned anyway. Not because of what I said, but because she lived it. She put on that uniform and scrubbed those toilets and felt invisible and learned that invisible people matter too. That's worth more than any amount of money I could have given her. My name is Michael Chen. I'm 65 years old. I used to own a multi-million-dollar company, and I'm prouder of my year working as a custodian alongside my daughter than any business success I ever had. Because that year, I got my daughter back. And she got herself back too.